Here, President Donald Trump announces that they're going to be seizing people's wages, pensions, or even retirement funds for some people. I'll give you the details here on this. This is a stark contrast to what the Biden administration did, and this is very controversial, and I'll let you know. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Also, the FDA is getting so many cuts to their workforce that they will not be able to test your food in some cases anymore. And I'll give you the details here on this potential safety risk and what to look out for here of this and more in this video. That's right. So let's jump right in. We are live right now here on the It's Jimmy Show. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. You can let me know your city, state, or even your country, as we have people tuning in here from all around the globe. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. And if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos and help me reach 500,000 subscribers. All right, take a look here at our first story. Okay, so President Donald Trump and the Trump administration says that they will, quote, seize wages and pensions and tax refunds to repay student loans, saying, quote, debt cannot be wiped away. The Department of Education says it will resume collections on defaulted student loans for the first time since 2020. This will also open a precedence that they could potentially use this precedence to seize wages, pensions, tax refunds, to seize this type of stuff for other debts, according to the government. Let me know your thoughts on this. What is your thoughts? Let me know in the comments section. Are you for this? Type yes. Are you against this? Type no. Here is the details. Those who default or refuse to pay their federal student loans could have their wages, federal pensions, and tax refunds garnished, the White House has now said. According to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, told reporters in her weekly briefing that the Trump administration will go after those who don't repay the loans instead of placing the burden on taxpayers. Quote, the government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers, tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages, garnishing wages, she said. Those in default on federal student loans could have wages, tax refunds, federal pensions garnished, and said it will resume collections for the first time since 2020. Their federal government student loan portfolio is nearly $1.6 trillion, with fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers up to speed on their loans. The official said that there are 4 million borrowers who are in the late stage delinquency stage on payments, meaning that they are between 91 days and 180 days late on payments, saying, quote, this is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers or the government. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Now, this is in contrast to the Biden administration, which did billions of dollars of student loan debt relief. Even though the Supreme Court turned down broad student loan debt relief for everybody, they did do billions and billions and billions of dollars of student loan debt relief. Okay. For example, their final round of student loan debt relief was $600 million for some students that went to DeVry University. Some of these rounds were from universities that closed or universities that defrauded people. Okay, and some were for people that like worked in the student loan sectors, or I'm sorry, that worked in public sectors and were supposed to get student loan forgiveness anyways. They'd worked there for many, many years. Okay, to give you an idea of who got this type of stuff. So universities that closed and left people with the bag, or they defrauded them or something like this. But according to the Education Department, the Biden administration had approved $188.8 billion in student loan forgiveness for 5.3 million people since taking office. Okay? 4 years ago, Biden made a promise to fix a broken student loan system. They rolled up their sleeves and they fixed existing problems that failed to deliver the relief they promised, took bold action, and on behalf of borrowers who had been cheated by their institutions, and brought financial breathing room to hardworking Americans, including public servants and borrowers with disabilities. So that gives you an idea of that. In addition to this, there's 1.9 million people stuck in student loan forgiveness and repayment limbo still right now. Next up, the FDA pauses milk quality testing. This is a serious, serious problem amid Health and Human Services cuts. Check this story out. The U.S. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, has suspended its quality control program that tests milk and other dairy products. Yikes. The Food Emergency Response and Network Proficiency Testing Program is currently in the process of transferring to another lab that will allow the program to continue. An FDA spokesperson confirmed in a statement on April 22nd. In the meantime, state and federal labs continue to analyze food samples, and the FDA remains committed to working with states to protect the safety of pasteurized milk supply. In an internal email, Division of Dairy Safety said the proficiency testing program for grade A raw milk and finished products is suspended effectively since April 21st. So this proficiency testing program is suspended effective since April 21st because of cuts at the FDA, because there's been cuts going on at all federal departments because of the Trump administration and the DOGE department. This disruption comes after the Department of Health and Human Services cut 10,000 jobs across agencies earlier in April, including the FDA, as well as sister agencies like the CDC and the NIH, National Institutes of Health. So you can also wonder what other problems might arise at other major agencies. Yeah. Among those laid off were FDA staffers who played a role in federal responses to the ongoing bird flu outbreaks. And again, you also might wonder what might have happened during the pandemic if there was thousands of employees that we would have been short-staffed on. When asked about cuts this month, a spokesperson referred to a fact sheet. Well, that doesn't really help, right? We also have the USDA withdrawing a plan to limit salmonella limits in raw poultry. Yeah. So the Agriculture Department will not require poultry companies to limit salmonella bacteria in their products. And again, you can already see that this is all just about money. Not being about safer, just about money and cost control. Halting a Biden administration effort to prevent food poisoning from contaminated meat. The department said it was withdrawing a rule proposed in August after 3 years of development. Officials with the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service cited feedback from more than 7,000 public comments saying they would evaluate whether they should update current salmonella regulations. The rule would have required poultry companies to keep levels of salmonella bacteria under a certain threshold and test for the presence of 6 strains most associated with illness, including 3 found in turkey and 3 in chicken. If the levels exceeded the standard or any of those strains were found, the poultry couldn't be sold and would be subject to a recall, the proposal had said. Instead, they've scrapped that and I guess we're just willing to get more salmonella poisoning. Yeah. Salmonella causes 1.3 million infections a year, mostly through food, 420 deaths a year, according to the CDC. The withdrawal drew praise from the National Chicken Council, an industry trade group. So, as you can kind of see, if you're big business, if you're lobby for big business, things can get done. We're cutting all this stuff from government, all these jobs, isn't necessarily good. And what will come of it? You got to think of the pros and cons of this. Because, when you're cutting jobs from food safety, you're cutting jobs from the IRS, well, okay. You're cutting jobs from water safety, food safety. So let me know your thoughts in the comments here because, and you got to kind of wonder, or you almost kind of know, they're not going and just, evaluating every job. They're just cutting jobs with a sledgehammer, figuratively, right? They're just saying, all right, we're cutting 30% jobs, 20% jobs, 40% of the jobs. We're cutting this whole department or 50% of that department. They're surely not just going and analyzing each individual's job and saying, okay, we don't need that one, we don't need this one, or this particular job. I mean, they're cutting 10,000 jobs, and they've done it in the shortest amount of time ever. So, is there cause for concern? Almost undoubtedly, right? And if you guys have been watching me for a long time, we all know I'm a realist. I'm just looking at each individual issue and just thinking about it realistically. So, when we're not testing for salmonella as rigorously as we should, FDA is not testing the milk like we should, or now we're going to be sending it to a third party that could possibly be getting paid under the table by, a big dairy company. You got to kind of wonder all this stuff. What's for the best? Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here. Share this video with anybody that needs to hear this information, and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos, and help me reach 500,000 subscribers. It's completely free to subscribe, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything you need to know about. Click here to see Target, Walmart, and Home Depot warning for millions of